Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Riddhi. The expert is going to join, but I have not seen a student, so I sent a message. And this will be very, very interesting in terms of anybody who is doing quantitative analysis. So that all would join. So now many of the scholars are joining. Good evening to one and all. And any moment, our today's speaker, Dr. Bangwal, is going to join. In the meantime, let me give his introduction so that as soon as he comes and he would start his session. So he is at this moment a professor at UPES and he has done PhD in HR analytics. And the interesting thing is Dr. Bangwal has many international publications of A grade, and that's something commendable, and any faculty who is having the A-star journal, and that's a secret, and it is his strength in analytic and also his strength in the quant, and generally through the quant it facilitates, to publish the paper in the in such kind of journal. And also he has earlier worked with Westin in Auckland, New Zealand, and also lovely professional university. Dr. Bangwal is a young person, and under him many PhD scholars are undergoing, especially in the field of HR analytics. So this is, I just had a talk with him about 5 minutes back, and he's setting his laptop, and he said he will just mention about all these tools so that it is advisable you sit with the a notebook, and here we have Dr. Bangwal with us. I welcome you, Dr. Bangwal, and in last 2-3 minutes I have given your introduction, so the stage is yours. Over to you, Dr. Bangwal.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, I hope that I am visible and my audio is clear. You have given.
Absolutely, you are visible. Good to see your beard, and I think you have put on some weight.
Yes, sir. After marriage.
Yeah, after many months we are meeting, and so, and your voice is also loud and clear. So you may start your session, sir. Over to you.
Sure, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. So shall I start?
Yes, please. Yes, please.
Okay. Right. So let me just share my screen. Okay. Okay, I'm not able to share my screen. I think, oh, got it. Fine, I got it.
Yeah, I have made you the host. So
yes,
yeah,
I got it.
Please go ahead.
I hope it is visible. Now the normal distribution, chapter 6 is visible to everyone.
Yes, it is.
Okay. Fine. Today we are going to start with the normal distribution because whenever we go with the research, right? Whenever we go with the type of research, so after that we are going to choose that what type of research we are going to be conducting, right? Because as I think that maximum of you already go through with those chapters like type of research where we can talk about exploratory research, where we can talk about descriptive research, cause and effect research, right? So on the basis of your research, so then you go ahead with the quantitative tools, right? If it is a qualitative, then there are separate tools for it. But if your research is based on a quantitative data, it means if your research is based on a survey, right? Or you want to do some analytical or empirical studies, right? You want to collect some data, you want to fetch some data, and then on the basis of your real data, then you want to come into the conclusion. Right? At that time, we need some statistical tools, right? It will help you out to give you a accurate result, right? So before going through with it, we just want to do some normality checks, which is required from here, right? So this is, we call it normal distribution, right? So what actually we are going to continue with this particular presentation, we are just going through with here. This is, so here you can see what is actually the normal distribution and what actually it is. It means when the number of samples, right? Whatever you collect, the number of data, the number of samples is normally distributed. If it is normally distributed, then you can get an accurate result. But if it is not normally distributed, then you can get a wrong result. It means then your predictions is going to be wrong. Right? So whenever we are doing a research, so we do a predictive modeling, right? Like, for example, I'm just quoting one example. I just want to check the demand of iPhone 14, right? So I just want to check it out that whether there is a demand of iPhone 14 in India or not, right? Whether people are eagerly waiting for iPhone 14 or not, right? Or we can say like nowadays the electric cars are in a trend, right? So we are going to identify that whether the people want electric cars or not, whether they are looking for it or not, right? So now we are going in the stage of collecting a data. अब हमने क्या किया कि हम मुझे जानना तो ये था कि भाई इलेक्ट्रिक कार की डिमांड इंडिया के अंदर कैसे, राइट? दैट इज माय बेसिक ऑब्जेक्टिव टू फाइंड आउट द नीड ऑफ इलेक्ट्रिक कार्स इन इंडिया. So what I do, I just go for a primary data. I just want to collect a real data. मुझे लगा कि भाई न्यूज़पेपर, मैगजीन, आर्टिकल्स में ठीक है, एवरीबडी इज टॉकिंग अबाउट इलेक्ट्रिक कार्स, राइट? हर कोई बात कर रहा है कि भाई द फ्यूचर इलेक्ट्रिक कार करेगा, ये रहेगा, राइट? सो बट आई जस्ट वांट टू चेक द रियलिटी. क्या ये रियलिटी ग्राउंड लेवल पे भी ऐसा ही है या नहीं? सो व्हाट आई एम गोइंग टू डू, आई एम गोइंग टू गो विद द रियल डेटा. सो व्हाट आई डिड, आई मेक अ वन सर्वे, right? I make a one questionnaire with a set of standard questions, and I am start going to collect the data. Now there are 2-3 cases, right? The sampling. Now here comes the role of sampling. वो आप लोग I think पढ़ चुके होंगे. Sampling, the convenience sampling, probability and non-probability sampling. So for example, you choose a convenience sampling as per your convenience. So you go outside and you just collect the data from the different candidates. अब आपने क्या करा कि आपने जब क्वेश्चनर या डेटा को कलेक्ट करना स्टार्ट करा, तो रियल डेटा को कलेक्ट करना स्टार्ट करा, सो व्हाट यू डिड एज पर योर क्वेश्चनर, तो आपने अपनी कन्वीनियंस के हिसाब से आपने क्या किया कि जो नियर अबाउट सैंपल था आपने वहां पे से ही डेटा ले लिया. फॉर एग्जांपल आप गए और आपने अपने ही ऑफिस से लोगों से पूछ लिया कि भाई आइदर यू आर वेटिंग फॉर द इलेक्ट्रिक कार्स और नॉट. सो इट मींस समहाउ यू आर गेटिंग अ डेटा फ्रॉम द सेम ग्राउंड, right? Those who are thinking similar, right? Or either you collect a data from the extreme industrialists, आप गए आपने इंडस्ट्री से जाके डेटा कलेक्ट करना स्टार्ट किया, या फिर आप गए उन लोगों के पास जो कि स्टूडेंट्स थे, आपने क्या करा कि स्टूडेंट से ही डेटा कलेक्ट किया. फॉर एग्जांपल वी आर प्रोफेसर, सो यूजुअली व्हाट वी डू इन अ कन्वीनियंस सैम्पलिंग, वी यूजुअली कलेक्ट द डेटा फ्रॉम द स्टूडेंट्स. सो व्हाट आई एम गोइंग टू डू, आई कलेक्ट डेटा फ्रॉम द स्टूडेंट्स ओनली. अब जब मैंने स्टूडेंट से डेटा कलेक्ट करा, सो देयर इज अ वेरी हाई प्रोबेबिलिटी दैट I'm not getting the accurate result, right? It means my prediction is going to be wrong. Why it is? Because when I'm collecting a data from the students, तो student जो है एक ही तरीके के result मुझे देगा, right? Because they are not waiting for a cars. They are not even thinking about the electric cars. What they are actually thinking about? They are thinking about bikes, scooters, right? Most of the students, right? I'm talking about the high percentage. So they are thinking about a different concept. Right? They didn't concerning about the environment. So होगा क्या कि जब आप डेटा कलेक्ट करके लाएंगे तो इट मींस आपका डेटा समहाउ एक साइड पे स्क्यूड होगा, राइट? और या तो वो लेफ्ट साइड स्क्यूड होगा या राइट साइड स्क्यूड होगा, राइट? अब इसका भी मैं बताऊंगा कि व्हाट इज दैट लेफ्ट एंड राइट स्क्यू। अब यह आपने डेटा अपने दोस्तों से लिया तो वो भी एक ही तरीके की थिंकिंग लेके चल रहे होंगे, तो इट मींस अगेन डेटा कहीं ना कहीं स्क्यूड होगा, या तो राइट स्क्यूड होगा या लेफ्ट स्क्यूड होगा। तो डेटा जब आपका नॉर्मल नहीं होगा तो इट मींस यू आर नॉट एबल टू गेट द राइट रिजल्ट। सो व्हेन यू आर एबल टू गेट द राइट रिजल्ट, व्हेन योर पॉपुलेशन और योर सैंपल साइज इज लार्ज, right? So when you get that bell-shaped curve, this bell-shaped curve is a symbol of your data is a normal. If you are not able to get this bell-shaped curve, it means your data is not normal, right? There are different tools available, like the very familiar tool is SPSS. Right? So you can directly check this normal distribution through SPSS. It's a easy available tool, right? You can directly download the crack version and it is available, right? So you can check it out that whether your data is normal or not. If it is not, then you have to work on it. If it is normal, then you can proceed with the another test. So where is the condition? So there are two conditions. Either it's a leptocritic and platocritic. So there are two situations comes while you are collecting a data: leptocritic and platocritic. Leptocritic when your data is left skewed. राइट? इट मींस जब आपका डेटा लेफ्ट की साइड, जैसे आप अभी नॉर्मल डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन का कर्व दे रहे हैं, तो व्हेन इट इज गोज टुवर्ड्स द लेफ्ट, इट मींस मोस्ट ऑफ द कैंडिडेट आर नॉट interested in your survey, right? It means most of the candidate they show their negative interest. Like for example, you are collecting a data on the demand of electric cars and you make a scale 1 strongly agree, you are waiting for it. Agree, yes, you are waiting for it. Third, neutral, and fourth, disagree, and fifth, strongly disagree. So while you are collecting a data from the students, so obviously that there are the high chances that you are getting a leptocritic data. It means which is highly goes towards the negative, strongly disagree, right? And if you are collecting a data from the same horizon, right, where the people are actually waiting for the electric cars, so it is rightly skewed and we call it platocritic. It means आपका data एक ही तरफ skewed, right? So when we get a normal distribution, when your sample frame is large, so that everyone while you are collecting a data. So Fisher is one of the scientists. So he said that while you are collecting a data, so your sample size should be more. हमेशा आपका जो सैंपल साइज है वो ज्यादा रहना चाहिए, so that you can get a normal distribution check. If your sample size is very low, then there is a high probability that either it is skewed left side, either it is skewed right side. So this is one of the rule of a normal distribution, right? After the normal distribution, what you have to check. So let me do. This is a mathematical formula to check that normal distribution. But there is no requirement of this manual calculation because n number of softwares are already available, right? You can just directly go use that particular software. The most standard and most effective software is SPSS. If you want to go through with the normal distribution, so you can go with the SPSS. Most of the researcher, most of the academicians, they use SPSS. So this software will give you a result like this, right? So if you are going through with the normal distribution after using the SPSS, so this is the figure where you can get it. Now there are the 2-3 circumstances over here. The pink line where you can find the pink line. This is a symbol of skewness. Skewness. Either your data is moved toward positive or either it is moved towards the negative. And the yellow line is called a platocritic. Right? It means your data is skewed on the third point. It means neutral. While you are collecting a data, तो ज़्यादातर लोगों ने क्या data में fill करा कि we don't know. Either we are not agree, either we are not disagree. So they fill in the neutral. So अगर आपके data में neutral आया, तो it means you are not able to get the right result. Right? Whereas the blue line is somehow showing the bell-shaped curve, and we called it a normal distribution. So it will help you out to proceed with the test. Right? Now, when you just check it out that yes, your data is normally distributed. So what is the next step after it? तो जब आपको ये पता चल जाता है कि yes, your data is actually normally distributed, then you go ahead with the test. Right? And those tests are vary from t-test, z-test. Today, I'm just giving you the glimpse of these tests and where we have to use this test. But in the next session, I will just show you a one demo of SPSS, that how to fetch the data in SPSS and how we have going to implement those tests, in which type of data we can use, going to use which test, right? So today I'm just giving you the overview that what actually these tests and where we can use it. Right? So after checking out that whether your data is normally distributed or not, then you go ahead with choosing the test, right? So there are n number of tests available, like t-test, z-test, chi-square test, ANOVA, MANOVA, MANCOVA, regressions, multiple regression, linear regressions, right? Cojoint analysis, and then we go ahead with the structural equation model. So nowadays, the very emerging analysis tool is structure equation model. So we are discussing about the structure equation modeling and the regression in the next lecture. But today we are just going ahead with the t-test and z-test and other chi-square, right? So now, for example, that you just want to check it out that whether the variable, the one variable impact on the another, right? I hope that you are clear about the variables, right? Variable is one of the very important, play a very important role while you are doing a research. So there are two type of variables which we usually use while we are doing a predictive modeling. So one is dependent variable, another one is independent variable, right? And that is the first thing, dependent variable and independent variable. Dependent, नाम से ही हमें पता चल जाता है, dependent, it means it is depend on another variable, right? Whereas independent variable is those variables which is not depend on the others, right? It has having its own impact, right? Like for example, I just quoted a one basic example. Like for example, we are 5 friends and we are planning to go a trip to a Missouri, right? So one of our friend is having a car. 4 of our friends, they are not having a car. So they are waiting near to the clock tower, right? Somewhere in the road, on the roadside. One of the person who is having a car, so he is going to bring that car, and then all the 4 person, they are going to accommodate on that particular car, and then they are going to be on a Missouri trip, right? So in this particular case, can anyone tell me that which one is a dependent variable and which one is an independent variable? I repeat the situation. There are 5 persons, they plan to go for a trip in a Missouri, right? 5 दोस्त थे, उन्होंने plan किया कि भाई हम मसूरी जाएंगे कार से. So there is a one person is having a car. एक person था, उसके पास कार थी, 4 लोग उसके साथ accommodate होके मसूरी जाने. So इस सिचुएशन में डिपेंडेंट वेरिएबल कौन होगा और इंडिपेंडेंट वेरिएबल कौन है? So you take
Good
your
evening,
time.
sir.
Yes.
Simran this side.
Yeah.
So the
Yes,
person
Simran.
who is taking the car is independent variable, and the
Very
person,
good.
friends who are dependent on him, they are dependent variables because he has to take them all. So they are
Very good.
dependent on him.
Great. Very good. Exactly. So those 4 person who are waiting for the particular person who is having a car, they comes under the category of dependent variable. It means अगर वो कार वाला जो person है वो नहीं आता है तो वो चारों का plan भी fail होता है. But that car person, those who having a car, is independent. वो चाहे तो उन चारों को drop कर दे and he go to the Missouri alone because he is independent. तो वो किसी पे depend नहीं कर रहा, so that's why he is independent. So these dependent and independent variables play a very important role while you are doing a research. So you have to identify that whether you are playing with these variables or not. Sometimes there are a situation where you work with only with a dependent variable, and there are some situation where you only work with an independent variable. But apart from dependent and independent variable, there are some other clauses comes which we call a mediating variables, right? And nowadays that you can find it out that while the people are looking for the different impacts with the dependent variable, independent to dependent, so there are a role of mediating variable like technology, right? क्योंकि पहले जैसा काम तो पहले जैसा ही चल रहा है, but there are a few things comes under the category and we call it technology, right? So कुछ चीजें हो गई हैं जो टेक्नोलॉजी पे बेस्ड होती है. टेक्नोलॉजी उस पूरे चीज को रिप्लेस तो नहीं कर पाता, बट यस इट गिव अ सपोर्ट, इट्स अ सपोर्टिंग सिस्टम, right? So sometimes we also have to work with that mediating variable. We have to identify that mediating variable and then we have to work on that particular mediating variable. So I quote one small example that what actually the mediating variable, whereas mediating variable having a no role, sometimes it is having a no role, sometimes having a full role, and sometimes having a partial role, right? Now what actually the mediating variable? How it works and how you have to identify that mediating variable, that whether it is going to work or not. For example, you as a researcher, you just want to check the successful of any trade, right? कहीं पे कोई trade fair लगा हुआ था and you just want to analyze, right? आपको एक project मिला हुआ था कि you have to analyze the success of that particular trade, right? आपको उसको analysis करके identify करना था उसकी success का, उस particular trade fair का success का, right? So what do you want to do on that particular situation? अब आपने क्या करा कि how you are going to identify it, right? वो particular trade successful हो रहा है या नहीं हो रहा है, so how you gonna identify it? So on a first day, what you observe, the number of participants or the number of customers, right, coming on that particular trade. So on the basis of that number of customers, ज़्यादा customer अगर आ रहे हैं तो it means that trade fair is going to be hit, right? वो hit हो रहा है या होने वाला है, because on the basis of the crowd, on the basis of customer, right? Second day, what happens? Crowd नहीं आया, भीड़ नहीं आई, right? So are you going to declare that trade fair is a failure or not, right? तो क्या आप ये declare कर दोगे कि trade fair failure था या नहीं, right? तो कई बार हम क्या करते हैं कि without considering that mediating variable, हम अपना result identify कर देते हैं and we declare it that due to that this trade fair is a failure. But कभी-कभी होता क्या है कि वो that mediating variable is act as a catalyst, right? कई बार वो mediating variable होता है जिसे हम skip कर देते हैं, हम छोड़ देते हैं, but there is a huge impact of that mediating variable. अब हुआ क्या था, second day rainfall हो गया, right? Those who are from Dehradun, so they understand the weather of Dehradun. राजपुर रोड पे अगर बारिश हो रही तो it doesn't mean कि यहाँ क्लेमेंट टाउन के पास भी बारिश हो रही, right? So हुआ क्या कि आपका ट्रेड फेयर परेड ग्राउंड में चल रहा था और ड्यू टू द रेनफॉल, राइट, ड्यू टू द रेनफॉल जो क्राउड आना था वो नहीं आया, राइट, एंड ड्यू टू दैट थिंग यू कैन नॉट डिक्लेयर दैट ट्रेड फेयर इज अनसक्सेसफुल. सो यहाँ पे जो मीडिएटिंग वेरिएबल का काम कर रहा था वो क्या था, रेनफॉल, बिकॉज इट्स अ आउटलायर. वी कॉल्ड इट समटाइम वी कॉल्ड इट अनकंट्रोल्ड वेरिएबल, राइट, जो हमारे कंट्रोल में नहीं होता, बट वी हैव टू कंसिडर इट, राइट. So what is the actual role of that mediating variable? That mediate the whole trend, right? वो mediating variable करता है क्या है कि कई बार आपके पूरे trend को change कर देता है, right? Like for example, I quote another example, right? This is my recent work. Like recently, I worked with the architectural designs of a building, right, of any property. So what actually I identified, if your structure is good, right, your building structure is good. So what is actually my area? Green buildings, right? Green buildings, that whether the green building having any impact on the environment or a human or not, right? So that is my area. So during my research, what I identified that if your building is green, right, you are getting oxygen, or you are getting fresh air, you are getting a sunlight, right? You are getting a natural light. So you can work very effectively on that particular area. But after this COVID-19, suddenly I get a changes. I find it out that people they are getting a fear to work under the green building also, right? Because COVID-19 is a respiratory disease. So at that time, I feel it out that the mental and physical health is playing as a mediating role, right? मुझे लगा यार ये तो green building है, we are working on that, LEED certified है, right? So why people are scaring to work under that building also? क्योंकि LEED certification के हिसाब से green building के अंदर space, work space, departmental space, proper distance के बीच में होता है, right? So I thought that why people are still not working under the LEED certified buildings, why they are scared about that diseases, right? So then I identified there is a role of two mediating variable, mental health, psychological and physiological, right? क्योंकि वो जो रोल थे वो बहुत इफेक्टिवली प्ले कर रहे थे लोग, जो एम्प्लॉइज के जो माइंड सेट था उसको चेंज करने, right? Because people, the occupants, those who are working under that building, they are just feel that if they are working on that building, so they get COVID, right? So due to that mental health, वो physically भी बीमार पड़ते गए, लोग बिल्डिंग के अंदर काम करने में डर रहे थे. तो अगर मैं उस वेरिएबल को नहीं लेता, मीडिएटिंग वेरिएबल को नहीं लेता, तो इट मींस समहाउ मैं जो है जस्टिफाई नहीं कर रहा था ऑक्यूपेंट सेटिस्फैक्शन के ऊपर, राइट? सो यू हैव टू आइडेंटिफाइंग दैट वेदर देयर इज सम मीडिएटिंग वेरिएबल कम्स अंडर योर रिसर्च और नॉट, एंड यू हैव टू आइडेंटिफाई इट and then you have to put it out. So these are talking about variables. After the normal distribution, you have to identify that what is your variables, right? Like dependent, independent, and the mediating variable also. The people usually work only with the dependent and independent variable, but you have to consider the mediating variable. जब आप ये वेरिएबल को आइडेंटिफाई कर देते हो, then you have to go through with कि आप जो अपने रिसर्च में टेस्ट करोगे, जो आप टूल को यूज करोगे, क्या आप पैरामेट्रिक टेस्ट यूज करोगे या नॉन पैरामेट्रिक टेस्ट यूज करोगे? पैरामेट्रिक वेयर वी आर यूजिंग नंबर्स, नॉन पैरामेट्रिक वेयर वी आर नॉट यूजिंग एनी नंबर्स. जहां पे हम नंबर्स का यूज कर रहे हैं, देन इट मींस वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट द पैरामेट्रिक टेस्ट, जिसके अंदर आ जाता है आपका रिग्रेशन, लीनियर रिग्रेशन, मल्टीपल रिग्रेशन, कोरिलेशंस, राइट, एंड स्ट्रक्चर इक्वेशन मैपिंग. So when we are talking about non-parametric test, then we are talking about t-test and chi-square test, right? So these are the tests when we are going with the non-parametric. Now that is now up to you that what you actually want to check, right? So for example, I just quote an example with the t-test. t-test को हम हमेशा वहां पे यूज करते हैं जहां पे आपके पास सैंपल कम हो. It means near about 30. अगर आपका सैंपल साइज 30 है, then you can proceed with the t-test. But there is a work clause between the t-test that you cannot go with the independent variable. आप सिर्फ independent variable के साथ ही उस पे जा सकते, right? You only go with the independent, you cannot carry with the dependent variable. And if your sample size is small, right? Chi-square is another non-parametric test which we are going to use, right? But ये जो दोनों जो टेस्ट हैं हम ये कब यूज करते हैं? जहां पे हमें डिफरेंसेस देखने हो, जिस पे रिसर्च में आपको ये डिफरेंस करना है कि क्या ये वाला पोर्शन ज्यादा है या ये ज्यादा था. फॉर एग्जांपल, यू आर गोइंग टू चेक द परसेंटेज ऑफ और द स्मोकिंग लेवल और स्मोकिंग परसेंटेज बिटवीन द मेल एंड फीमेल, राइट? तो आपको अगर ये जानना है कि क्या मेल ज्यादा स्मोकिंग करते हैं या फीमेल ज्यादा स्मोकिंग करते हैं, सो इस तरीके के टेस्ट पे, इस तरीके के अगर आपके रिसर्च है, तो आपको काई स्क्वायर का यूज करना होता है. Because chi-square is basically meant for giving you the percentage that this number of this percent of male are doing smoking and this percent of female are doing smoking, right? So जहाँ पे भी आपको दो चीजों को compare करना है by using a nominal by using the categorical data, then you go ahead with the chi-square test. Similarly with the t-test, when you are going with the nominal data, then you go with the t-test and chi-square. I hope that you guys are clearly understood with the nominal data, ordinal data, ratio data, and interval data. If it is clear with you, then I am going ahead from here. If it is not, then I am going to explain
No.
type of data.
No, please say a few words about these three.
Okay. Whenever we are talking about data, जब भी हम बात करते हैं कि what actually the data is, right? In which form your data is. Right, so आपका usually जो data होता है, right, our data is totally based on the some types, like either it's in the form of nominal. So there are 4 type of data, right? When we talk about the type of data, then we talk about 4 type of data. First one is nominal data, right? Second one is your ordinal data. Third one is interval data, and the fourth one is ratio data, right? The first one is, I repeat, first one is nominal data, right? Nominal data. Second one is ordinal data. Third one is interval data, and fourth one is ratio data. Now, what is the difference between these 4 type of data, and which type of data you have to fetch? That is based on your research, right? Nominal data. Nominal data is usually we consider is as a categorical data. Nominal data को हम categorical data भी कहते हैं, right? So we called it categorical data. It means when your data comes under the form of category, right? अगर आपका data categories की form में है, then we called it nominal data. For example, male, female. So there are 2 categories, right? Male and female. Then your data is based on, like for example, you are asking age, right? आप किसी की age पूछना चाह रहे हो through your data, through your questionnaire, right? So there are different questions you can ask. Either you can ask what is your age, right? आप question भी सीधा डाल दीजिए what is your age. So someone says that 26 or 32 or 35, 40, right? That is one way. Second thing to ask the age is what is your age? Between 20 to 40, between 40 to 60, between 60 to 80, right? So when you are asking a someone age, जब आप अपने respondent की age categorical form में पूछते हो 20 to 30 and 30 to 40, 40 to 50, 50 to 60, it means now you are making it category, right? आपने इसको 4 category में divide कर दिया 20 to 30, 30 to 40, 40 to 50 and 50 to 60, right? अब इसमें जब आप data लेंगे, so you are not able to find out the actual age, right? Because 20 to 30, so it in between this category, someone who comes in the category of 21, then someone who comes under the category of 25, someone it also comes under the category 27, 29, because that there is a category you maintain 20 to 30, right? So you are not able to find out the actual age, but you convert it into the category. It means 20 to 30, 30 to 40, 40 to 50, 50 to 60. So when you collect your data in the form of categories, in the any form of categories, right, then it comes under the nominal data. So whenever you are collecting a data in the form of categories, so it comes under the nominal data, right? So we called it nominal data. If your data is nominal, अगर आपका data nominal होता है, right, then you are not able to use quantitative, it means parametric tools. Then you are not able to use parametric tools where you can identify the numbers. फिर आप रिग्रेशन पे काम नहीं कर सकते, फिर आप मल्टीपल रिग्रेशन नहीं लगा सकते, देन फिर आप बहुत सारे वेरिएबल्स के साथ नहीं खेल सकते. That's why the researcher is usually not taking a data in a nominal form, right? So nominal data is those data who comes under the categories. So we call it nominal. Chi-square test and T-square test, it is totally based on the nominal data. For example, in chi-square, we are going to identify the voting ratio, right? For example, I just want to check it out. What is the voting percentage, right? How many males gave a vote and how many females gave a vote? So here I just want to know the percentage between male and female during the voting, during the votings, right? So in this particular area, I just want to know the percentage. It means मैं दो कैटेगरी में फिर से डेटा को देख रहा हूँ, मेल और फीमेल की परसेंटेज, राइट? सो जब हमें इस तरीके की रिसर्च करनी होती है जहाँ पे हमें परसेंटेज में कोई डेटा देना है मेल और फीमेल में, या एजुकेशन लेवल, ग्रेजुएट, पोस्ट ग्रेजुएट, पीएचडी, राइट? सो यू मेक अ कैटेगरी. आपने एजुकेशन का 3 कैटेगरी बना दिया, ग्रेजुएट, पोस्ट ग्रेजुएट एंड पीएचडी. So you make a 3 categories. So whenever you have to give a result in the form of category, then you have to go through with the nominal data. तब आप nominal data के साथ चलते, right? बट नॉमिनल डेटा के साथ आप बहुत ज्यादा एक्सपेरिमेंट नहीं कर सकते. यू आर गोइंग टू go through with the 2-3 tests, like T and Chi is the only test which is go through with the nominal data. You cannot go with the regression, correlations, right? You cannot go ahead with the nominal. Second is ordinal data, right? This is again a very important form of a data. Ordinal data. Now, what is this ordinal data? Ordinal data is mean जैसे कि नाम से पता चल रहा है, ordinal data it means order form. जो भी data order form में, right? उसे हम nominal data कहते हैं, ordinal data कहते हैं. Whatever comes under the category of ranking, we called it ranking. So we called it ordinal data. For example, आप आइडेंटिफाई करना चाहते हो, यू आर ट्राइंग टू आइडेंटिफाई दैट which one is the best company, right? You just want to rank the companies as per either as per market share or as per their brand names, right? आपने क्या करा कि आप इंडिया के अंदर ऑटोमोबाइल कंपनीज को रैंक करना चाहते हो, right? You are doing a research to rank the companies that which one comes under the category of number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5. Top 10 companies you are going to identify, right, in the automobile sector. So if you are going to rank your data, then you have to go with the ordinal data. अगर आपकी स्टडी में आपको रैंकिंग दिखानी है, that which company comes under the number 1 position, then which company comes under the number 2 position, number 3, number 4, number 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So you just want to identify the top 10 companies, right? And you want to rank them as per the number 1 to number 10. Then you have to go through with the ordinal data, because ordinal data comes under the order, right? So that we called it ordinal data. It means whenever you are collecting a data on the basis of ranking, right, on the basis of order. Aapko TV, there are so many companies in the television, right, like LG, Sony, Orida, and then MI. So you want to rank those companies. तो आपको करना क्या कि आपको इन टीवी को रैंक करना कि which one is the best, which one is the last, right, top 10. Then you have to go with the ordinal data. So ordinal data is basically a data which comes in the form of orders, right, which comes under the form of order. Another example I can quote, like top 10 students in the class, right? अब आप top 10 student कर सकते हो कि ये पहला आया था, this person comes first, then this is second, third, fourth, but उनके बीच का ordinal data का एक limitation है. There is a one small limitation of ordinal data, that you are not able to identify the gap between, right? It means you are not able to identify जो first आया है, जो second आया है, उनके बीच gap कितना. कई बार क्या होता है कि first और second का बीच का जो gap है वो hardly points का होता है, but we declared that this is the number 1 company, this is the number 2 company, this is the number 3 company, right? So there is a one limitation in the ordinal data, that you are not able to identify that gap. So what is the gap between these two companies? Because it only used to rank the data, to rank the particular data, right? So this is one of the limitation. Like for example, number 1 first in the class, second in the class, third in the class, but we are not able to identify that what is the difference between first and between second, third, and third to fourth, and fourth to fifth, right? So it usually gives you a ranking, right? So this we consider as an ordinal data. Whenever you are going to rank the particular subject, so then you go through the ordinal data. Third one is a ratio data, right? So ratio data is a useful data, right? You can convert it. Ratio data का आप nominal में भी convert कर सकते हो, इसको ordinal में भी convert किया जा सकता है, और इसे interval में भी convert
So let us reconnect again. Let us, after we have about 35 more seconds. So the interval data we will discuss when we reconnect after 30 seconds. Okay, sir?
Okay, fine.
Yeah, right.